Hi everyone, welcome back to Be Rich. Yes, yesterday's video I said we will discuss stocks which you guys have asked for, and one of the companies you guys have asked about is a company called Novo Nordisk. The market has, for some reason, I don't know if it's panic or if it is justified, has taken the stock and beaten it to death. It's not a company that deserves this kind of treatment. It is a very large Danish company, leading pharmaceutical company, which has been there for a very long time. It's not going to go away anywhere anytime soon. But the way the market is reacting to it sounds like it's sinking as a ship. At least that's what I feel when I see it. A lot of you have been asking us, who are especially looking at American stocks, if this is something that we should put in your radar. We should also be considering it. And who better than Shashwat to dive into this and have a discussion. By end of this video, I don't expect you to come to a conclusion to buy or not to buy. That is not the point of this video. The point of this video is to kind of highlight why it has happened and why it is where it is. The question of it being something you should consider or not is purely up to you. If you are looking for shortcut answers, you know I am not the person who does this. I'm not like my brother. I do not say it's just time for snacking or take your hockey stick and go play and all that. I don't do that. I just offer my side of the argument, and we try always offer two sides to the argument, yes and no, and then I leave it to you to make the tough decision to say yes or no for yourself. And that's the way it should be, because I strongly believe that we should all learn together and we should all investigate whatever investments we make together. I don't like the idea of just looking at something and just buying it randomly without understanding what is happening. So in that effort, we will try and understand what's happening to Novo Nordisk. And Shashwat, why don't you give us a lay of the land as far as Novo Nordisk is concerned?
Yeah. So recently, Novo Nordisk has made much of its money from they've launched a few products, some to do with diabetes and some to do with weight loss directly. So under the weight loss umbrella, they have Wegovy. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but there's a drug called Wegovy which they've come up with. And under diabetes, they have Ozempic, which is something which all of us know about. So these are the main cash cows which Novo Nordisk has, and this had basically caused them to make a lot of money in a short period of time, and that pushed their returns quite high. The stock market rewarded them for it, and now it has competitors who have come in, and it has Eli Lilly, which is the next big contender, and it has Pfizer, which is another brand. If you guys must be familiar with the COVID vaccine, Pfizer vaccine, one of the first pharmaceutical companies to come up with the vaccine. So you have Pfizer, Moderna, those were the companies. So Pfizer has also released its competing products. And now the main point to why we're seeing this decline, at least from what we can see in terms of fundamental data, I don't know about technical analysis, maybe that's something separate. But as for the fundamentals, which is what we always focus on, it seems to me that people are worried that Novo Nordisk is going to lose a lot of its market share in the diabetes segment as well as the weight loss segment. So I think Ozempic is an injection based
Yes, it's an injection
based drug, and Eli Lilly has come up with a orally treatable
oral tablet.
Yeah,
For weight loss.
Yes,
Which has clinically shown that it's giving good results,
Yeah.
as good as the injection.
Yes.
And I think it's got an FDA approval now to launch the drug.
Yes, soon to enter the market. Now, the question is, given a choice between shooting something into my body versus ingesting it, I personally would prefer to, ingest it, because that is the way I view benign medicines as. Whereas when we are injecting something, we tend to have it's a perception thing.
Yeah, it's a perception, purely perception.
Pure perception thing, and the thing is that does affect how market shares work. And there's been a lot of talk about other pharmaceutical companies developing their own weight loss drugs, their own diabetes medicine, to be able to compete with Novo Nordisk and basically reduce their market share. Now, the question is, so far so good. They've generated quite a lot of free cash flow. I think from 2015 to right now, they've generated about a 15% growth year on year in terms of their FCF, that is free cash flow, which is quite good. My question is, now they have their patents for Wegovy and Ozempic, I think, until the 2030s, early 2030s. So they have some more time for them to milk as much as they can out of it, after which it will go into the next R&D cycle, and then we have to see what they bring out next. That being said, fundamentally speaking, the debt to equity ratio of this company is within a reasonable range. They have, I think 60% was what I saw when I last checked it. So at 60%, especially when you're borrowing in the European market, where borrowing rates are relatively cheap, it's not too bad. But that being said, it's going to be difficult for me to predict how much market share they're going to lose, because I'm not an industry expert. However, it's taken quite a beating. It's come down to, I think, a PE ratio of 20, and I think that at this PE ratio, if the market share that they lose is not going to be very drastic over the coming years, it may be something that we can consider. It'll take me some more time to sit and do a DCF on it. If I do get down to doing that, because I do have other companies in the pipeline, but if I do get down to doing it, maybe we can make a detailed video on the valuation side of things. But as it stands today, it seems to me that Novo Nordisk is facing tough competition from people outside, which is basically you have your competitors, and then you also have a system where whatever you do end up making, once your patent is done, generic competitors are going to manufacture your drug and supply it to the market. So that threat is always there. So the only question investors are asking right now, I believe, is that whether Novo Nordisk is going to be able to reap the returns on their drug within the patent period, or whether this declining market share thing is going to be a huge problem for them. I don't have an answer to this, but as things stand today, if the company continues to depreciate, then I think it might be time to consider doing a value analysis on it. Because fundamentally speaking, the company is pretty sound, as at least it has been sound over the past few years. It's innovated quite a bit, and I think it's something to keep an eye on. At least that's the way I view it now. What do you think?
Well, my opinion is different. I think Novo Nordisk is a great buy right now.
Okay.
If you have the mental fortitude to put up with the turbulence, in the long term, it's a company that will give you good benefits. It's always traded slightly above or way above its intrinsic value, especially because of this weight loss phenomenon. And of course, the American market was the first market to have weight loss injections, and they made a lot of revenue there. It became a social phenomenon, and it's spreading worldwide now. Now it's available, variations are available all over the world. Yes, the major reason why it took a beating was thanks to the tariffs, and not a clarity on the tariffs. Eli Lilly is a company based in the US, so they're not going to be hammered as much with the tariffs as a Danish company trying to come into US. I feel they have a very good economic moat. It's a great company. It's a long history, and this surge of cash which has come into them will be pumped back into R&D. Yes, in the short term, next year, 2 years, even 4 years is going to be difficult for them.
Now, what I'm concerned about is that they've very heavily increased. I mean, okay, they were under-levered before. That is, even though Europe gives very cheap borrowing, they hadn't made use of it as much as they could have. But over the past year, what they've done is they've almost doubled their borrowing, which though still Europe gives you very low rates of interest, and they're making money in America. So I get that there is a differential to be made. But my only concern is that they get into a situation where their drug falls flat on the face, and their next R&D cycle doesn't go to plan. This one went well. They've made a lot of money on it. But my worry is that in the next R&D cycle, if they don't, for some reason, for some freak of nature reason that it doesn't happen, then they're stuck with this $100 billion or whatever that they borrowed, which is going to be in their book. So that's my only concern. But that being said, you're right. It's like taking a punt on Nike, which has good brand recognition, has some good track record, and I get it. I get your point of view.
Anyway, there you go. So this is the two arguments on the table for you. I would love to hear what your views are on this. Populate your comments down below, and me and Shashwat will come and read them. And if we find something remarkable, we'll come and make another video on that comment based on what analysis you guys have to offer.
Yeah, if they're interested, we can put it up on the Substack and make a.
Of course, we're interested. We're expecting that. That's a given, man.
Yeah.
That's why we are here.
Yeah.
We're expecting you to deep dive into it, and chew it and digest it and make it into nice little sweets for us treats to eat on Substack.
Happy to do that.
Yeah. So that'll take some time though, because it's a lot of work. Shashwat already, like he said, he has a lot of companies on his pipeline which you should look forward to on the Substack. So this will be added to that list. It will get there. So be patient. But meanwhile, some of you have already done some kind of analysis. We'd love to hear your opinion. Do you think Novo Nordisk is a value right now at the price it is, considering its intrinsic value? Or do you feel more towards Shashwat, what he's saying, and be a little more cautious and wait a little bit and see? Or do you feel the other extreme where you feel the intrinsic value has collapsed thanks to all the things that's happened with the tariffs and with a stiff competition and the headwind it's facing from Eli Lilly and Pfizer and other companies, even the Chinese, a lot of Chinese pharmaceutical companies which have tried to copy this and come out with something
We have
similar.
Indian pharmaceutical companies as well.
True. So take all this into consideration. Even Natco and our home brew is doing something. So take all this into consideration and give us your comments. I hold my ground that I still believe there is at least a 40% headroom in this share. Shashwat feels let's wait and watch. Let's hear your opinion. Thanks for watching Be Rich. It was rather entertaining to talk about Novo Nordisk with you guys today and take these various positions. Looking forward to your comments. Nothing else more to say. Thanks for watching the channel again. Good night and see you tomorrow. Bye.
Thank you.